Hello and welcome back. It's time for Chit Chat with two T's. As usual, I am your beloved host, counseling psychologist, jvaldez. And here with me today is a very special guest, or the more from a special guest, and I don't want to see anything in the comments about this particular guest. Okay, but it is Independence Week here in Trinidad and Tobago. And so it is quite fitting that today's guest is Mr. Shedron Collins, General Manager of Youth Business, Trinidad and Tobago, aka YBTT.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, thank you for saying yes. We had to pay you, I'm glad to be here.
And welcome Chit Chat fans. Hi Chit Chat fans.
Thank you. And today we are, as we have been in season 3, recording on location at number 14 Scott Street. We are here at Marketplace, guys. I'm so excited to be here. This is the place to be for all your local needs in terms of your belly. Okay, so it is great. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later, right? And of course, we'll have even more in our place test. But for today, we want to get right into it. So I'm going to call on Elissa. Hi. To come and talk about what's in our cups. No? Yeah, well, you can tell us from over there. She doesn't want to be seen, guys. Right, but you can hear her voice talking about what's in our cup. So, what is in my beautiful cup, Elissa?
You are having our Mexican hot chocolate.
Yes.
It's our Cocoa drinking chocolate that has a bit of spices in it to make it a little spicy. Okay.
Right, Cocoa drinking chocolate, local, and in Shedron's cup.
He's having a wonderful sorrel coffee by Imani Roastery. It's a very flavorful sorrel coffee that's mixed in with a bunch of spices that you get in the bag.
You get them in the bag, guys. You don't have to go and pick your neighbor bay leaf. It's in there, right? And our producer, of course, Ricardo, also has, because he has a little coffee addiction, so he has something special in his cup as well.
He has a wonderful salted caramel latte.
Using
our Hangwing medium roast coffee.
Hangwing, guys, and lattes. Who knew? Thanks so much, Elissa. Right, so now you know what is literally in our cups, and now I'm gonna ask Shedron what is figuratively in his cup. What is going on with you? What's happening?
Life. I think that's usually the best answer, right? There's a lot of things going on in life day to day, and dealing with the challenges, wearing the different hats.
Right.
Although I'd love to wear hats, literally, right? But there's a lot of different hats that I'm wearing: YBTT, Rotary, family, and dealing with all those different aspects of life and trying to figure out where do I fit in and where do I stand out as well. I think a lot of people try to fit into these different blocks that they're in, but how do you stand out and figure out what's you? Who are you as compared to who are you versus in this person, in this persona, in this persona.
So you're expected to be in that role.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we figure out how you stand out, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the roles, those hats that you wear. You mentioned Rotary and YBTT. Could you tell us about that?
Right, so YBTT, I'm the general manager. I don't know, a lot of entrepreneurs would know that usually when you're at the general manager stage, your job description is other, right? So you usually tend to figure out what needs to be done, where the gaps are, and you are here to fill it.
That's a lot.
Yeah, well, your role is to make sure that everybody has everything that they need to do their job. If that isn't your role, then you're not a general manager.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
And fun fact, here at Marketplace, there are some products by entrepreneurs who would have passed through YBTT.
I mean, shout out to, I'm seeing Geo Health, I'm seeing Handmade by Jeanette, and the Flower Baking Company, just to name a few that's here.
Just to name a few. So you'll have to come down to Marketplace to see all those and more.
Yeah, I always tell my entrepreneurs, there's no shame in a shameless plug.
There's no shame in a shameless plug. So that is YBTT. What about Rotary? What is your position within the Rotary?
Well, it's a small club, right? And you realize that with anything small, your hands have to be in everything.
Oh yeah.
My current hat there is the immediate past president. I let go of that president hat in July
Hoping to do the same with the Holy Faith Convent Penal Alumni Association. Let's see what January 2024 brings.
And then, well, versus my nature, I'm also the public relations officer now. So
Versus your nature?
Yeah,
Do tell. Tell us more about that.
I always tell persons I'm an introvert. Persons don't believe it, but I always tell them an introvert is not about being shy, and that's the misconception, right?
Yeah.
So it's really about where does your energy come from, right? So after this conversation, I probably need to take a nap, get that energy back.
And not people for like a day. So, and I, of course, I'm the opposite because people give me energy. So that's quite an interesting dynamic thing. So, did you say the name of your Rotary Club?
The Rotary Club of Point Fortin.
There is no shame in a shameless plug. Right, so that is quite
Like us on Facebook.
Like them on Facebook. Feel free to figure out how to join, message them to see. So that is what's happening. That's what's in your cup, figuratively, and of course, literally. Shout out to Elissa, right? Elissa. And so managing all of those things, I'm sure that there may be things that annoy you. So that brings us to the next segment of our podcast, which is what boils your water. So we're sticking with the tea analogy, and we know that there are many different things on a daily basis that can boil our water, make our kettles whistle, all those things. Could you probably tell us a few, if any?
If any. So I think what boils my water usually has to come with, sometimes you've built rules that you are accustomed doing.
Right.
So off the back of your hand, you can do it blindfold.
Yeah.
So when you're giving someone else that role to fulfill now, you kind of wonder, okay, but this is so easy. It's supposed to be something that you can do like this. And then you don't realize that you've been doing this so long that it became second nature, right? And it's like riding a bike. For you, it's easy. You see, it's riding a bike, there's nothing, right? But then you don't remember the first time you rode that bike.
Listen, and it was traumatic, guys. Those of you bike riders.
And I think it's understanding, well, it's being able to pass on that information, one, but also being able to pull back and let other persons guide what that role is supposed to be. So I guess my pet peeve, my inner pet peeve, is persons not being able to, well, persons want to have too much control. And that's really something that I'm trying to let go of, that delegate word, right? Give persons more control, but not in the sense that control to do what I want to do, but control to make sure that they can do the job as best of their ability. My other pet peeves, things like late. I'm always on time, right?
Ricardo feels a little attacked. Okay,
I just happened to look in your direction, but time is always a thing, right? We used to have also a past Milnerite, right? No matter what they call it now, I'm also a past Milnerite.
Trinity Hall forever.
And we used to have a saying, to be on time is to be before time. Right? And that is something that I always respect, because me being on time means I'm respecting the person who's waiting on me, or the person who's supposed to come and have that meeting with me. So I'm always there trying to figure out, how do I punch in ways and say, okay, I need to be there.
Loves ways.
10 minutes before, 15 minutes before, to be on time at that necessary.
Okay, so late coming and not being able to do the job the way he wants you to do it. Those are
not being able to let go.
not being able to let go.
Yeah.
Right? So you heard it. Those are your pet peeves. And how do you manage them? Because everybody's not going to always be on time, and everybody's not always going to want to let go. So how do you deal with that?
So I think it comes from understanding that everyone doesn't see the world like you.
Yeah.
And things that you value may not be the same things that they value. But also you don't know what the situation somebody is going through. Right? So from a lot dealing with entrepreneurs, sometimes they don't pay their loan on time. Sometimes it's that they miss a meeting. But when you dive deeper, they realize that they're going through something personal in their business. They're going through something that, hey, their landlord was knocking on their door yesterday and they had to pay the landlord first before they even seek out us. So I think, one, it's helping you, is that empathy. That process of design thinking, empathy, shameless plug again, right? Diving into the person's shoes and being able to understand from their perspective what is going on.
Okay.
And I think we, as human beings, we always figure that we're the hero of our story.
Right.
And therefore everybody is just around us.
You might be the villain.
You might be the villain. You might be the villain. But you are always there at I'm the center point of attention. And persons are supposed to come into what I value. Persons are supposed to come into what I believe.
Yeah.
And my beliefs as well. And they're supposed to portray that. Right? And when they don't do it, they are going against the story. They're going against the story.
Yeah. Someone once told me that your fire is not everybody else's fire. And that's why we have to be mindful of how we interact with people. So that is quite a lot that you're managing. And well, two things. Managing it, how does coffee help? Because that seems to be your preferred drink of choice, right? And maybe you could tell us about Youth Business Trinidad and Tobago, because I don't think there are people who might be wondering, what is it and what does it do? Clearly, there's something with entrepreneurs, but you know, who knows? So maybe you could tell us about those things.
So I think the first question in terms of, please remind me again?
Why do you like coffee so much? How does it help you?
Yeah, so I think for me, coffee really is a conversation add-on.
Oh.
Right? So for some reason, every time I have a meeting, I have a coffee in hand. I don't know where it came from.
I think it's called an addiction.
But I think the good thing about it is that it gives me something, one, to do with my hands.
Right.
And it started like that. But it's also something just to pause the conversation. So it's a tool that I use in this conversation. So while I'm thinking, I probably would take a sip and then respond those aspects. But I think, you know, the different blends of coffee is something that I like. And I must say, shameless plug, if you haven't tried the sorrel, yeah, it's about time. So
Wow.
and I think it's really to make sure that, you know, that when you're in the conversation, it's something to take you outside of the conversation, but it's also something to keep you in the conversation as well. And I think it's important that we understand that, hey, it might be an addiction, so sometimes it might be to slow down, right? But I also do intermittent fasting as well. So sometimes I would use coffee, black coffee, as a meal supplement, right? To get that down sometimes.
Carlo is loving this.
And remind me of your second question.
Could you tell us about Youth Business Trinidad and Tobago?
I just want you to repeat it. So Youth Business Trinidad and Tobago were I would say an entrepreneur support organization. We usually deal with youths 18 to 35. And I say by the 18 and the 35, it's a little gray area. Right. Because sometimes we will work in schools, right? We're pushing that effort in terms of helping secondary school children get that entrepreneurial spark.
Yeah, because that's not something that we would have had when we were in school. I don't feel like we were really encouraged to start your own business or explore your skills and develop that into something that could take care of you and your family.
Yeah, and sometimes it's simple. It's helping them understand who's an entrepreneur. Right. Because if you go and ask, you say, so what is an entrepreneur? Who's an entrepreneur? You know, they automatically think, oh, well, Mark Zuckerberg, you know, Bill Gates, and they automatically think that's where entrepreneurship is. They forget that mechanic, right? They forget the restaurant owner. They forget those people. Hey, those people are entrepreneurs, right? So I think it's helping them understand people who have their own talk shows, entrepreneurs, right? So it's understanding from that perspective of who's an entrepreneur and how do I plan to be an entrepreneur. And I think when we're in secondary school, a lot of us are, well, how do I get that job? Right? And that's what is that job I'm looking for? And so that's at that level. Our main mission is to help persons start to think about their MVP, right? Their most viable product. And that's where we go into that training and design thinking. We start off first with a personal stock taking profile, helping them understand who am I. Right. Because before you create that product or that service, you might make sure that, hey, is this something that I want to do? Is this my purpose? Or is this something I'm going to be passionate about? Because, I mean, I've gotten that 8 p.m. call of, I know how I pay my bills tomorrow. You know? And that's really where that passion and purpose needs to kick in. Right. And once we help persons at that level get started, then we try to figure out, okay, are there other programs that we can filter them into? Get them to other programs. We even had accelerator programs that we try to get them to that next level of their business. Right. I say that the 35 is also great because we also had persons 42 before coming into the program.
So you see, there can be exceptions to the rules, so you can't count yourself out, right?
So I think once we get to that level, it's really how do we spark that entrepreneurship at all levels. One of the things that we're pushing for in the last 2 years is sustainable entrepreneurship.
Right.
Which is not just a matter of looking at the economic value that you're creating, but how are you giving back to the world? Looking at the circular economy, looking at social and green businesses. Because when people hear sustainability, they think, okay, finance. I must set up a bank account, have money.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
You have to understand that too much is given as an entrepreneur, much is expected. And how are you building that business to give back?
Yeah.
And that's really what it is.
I love that. And we do need to know more, and we do need to encourage our children, you know, from early on to recognize that it's not just about what you learn in school, but if they have a skill or they have a talent that can be parlayed into something sustainable.
Yeah, and I know I've watched the show a couple of times. My personal mantra, and Ricardo, you can flash it on it.
My God.
Flash it on it myself.
Just come in here and try to tell us what to do.
My personal mantra, there's too many people looking for a better life and too little to make life better.
Oh my God.
So if you can get that, well, look, I don't put it on, right? So it's there. But if we can have less people looking for a better life and more people looking to make life better, life would be better.
We would all have better lives. I love that. And so you're talking about giving back, and I think that is basically the crux of what Rotary is about. Could you tell us about the Rotary Club of Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, Point 14 specifically.
Yeah.
So what we do is that we're working from down to Ikakas.
You all know what that is? South.
Right? So if people understand that they hear Point 14, we think that we're only dealing with Point 14. We actually go straight from down to Ikakas in looking at support. The idea is, how do we give back to the community? Sometimes it's coming from our own pockets. People think that, you know, we're all big businessmen and they understand that, hey, we all have a lot of money and those things. But some of us say we're struggling as most persons, but we understand that, again, it comes back. We need to be the people that are actually giving back as well to help make life better for somebody else who may be worse off. And that's where it comes in. So different school projects, different educational projects, because we are big on youth there as well.
Right.
And I don't know why, but
we're big. Be your passion, nothing common for giving back on youth.
We're big on youth as well, you know, and persons in need. Right, so we try to do hamper drives and those things as well, but we're really looking for those passion projects to see how do we become those sustainable projects, not just a matter of that one-off support and then the person is still in need next month. But how do we get that person to that next level?
So we have sustainability coming into play again. Okay. And so you're managing that, right? You're managing life. I imagine that you're in a relationship.
I imagine too.
Noted with that. How's your mental health? That's our next segment. How is your mental health?
Describe mental health. And we'll start there first.
Well, what is your frame of mind? How is your overall mental well-being, emotionally? How are you doing? Because that's quite a lot that you're managing.
So I think currently it's on a roadblock, right? In the sense that, well, I always tell person I'm a creative person, right? I don't need to be a painter. I don't need to go in front of a stage and sing, although I can do that as well. I don't need to be that in front person to be creative, right? So I always say that my skill is being able to connect the different dots.
Okay.
And how I know that I'm in a mental fog, I guess, is when I'm unable to see the connections.
Yeah.
Right? So that usually I would say, okay, these different programs and where they intersect, and I have in the back of my mind those entrepreneurs that can fit into those programs perfectly. And it's becoming harder and harder. And that's where you know that you're at that mental strain of figuring out, okay, probably I need to take a step back in order to take a step forward.
I like that.
And that step back might mean that, hey, disconnect everything. That step back might mean to go on a journey, you know, going into the mountains, growing that, see how far this beard can grow out from there. Sometimes it's reading that book that helps bring you back to reality, right? It might be a video that you're looking at, somebody interviewing, and something to help you pull you back and realize that, hey, somebody else is going through this or went through this, right? I always say books, and whether it be the biographies, whether it be looking back at someone's journey, right? they give you that information of that journey that somebody went through, and you realize that as human beings, we're actually going through in cycles. We're going through the same journey,
There's
the
nothing
same
new
problem.
under the sun, you know. It's just unique in terms of each individual's experience.
And it's now, how do you show up in that position and show up in that moment in time as well.
And so what does relaxation look like? Because that's a big part of mental health. That's a big part of stepping back. What does that look like for you?
Relaxation. When was the last time?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So relaxation for me is usually tuning off. Right? I mean, going to the cinemas, those late movies where there's nobody, or those really early movies.
Introvert alert.
But there's really early movies where there's nobody there. It gives me a sense of being able to tune everything out. Right? I can focus on a movie. I don't have to try to connect any dots. I don't have to think about what's going on tomorrow. I don't have to think about, okay, did we pay that person? Right? Did I pay that person? Is that person meeting tomorrow? But even for the other things that I'm involved in as well. Right? So it gets to turning off. I'm not a regular, well, even reading, I said, and well, videos, right? Looking at those videos, Will Smith before the slap, right? Before the slap, but he's coming back. Right? Before the slap, you know, created those different genres as well. And you know, I read his book recently as well. Was that recently? Was that couple?
Was it a gift?
It was a gift. It was a nice gift.
Nice. That must be nice.
Right. From two good friends. And
shout out to Kelly.
I got it both ways. Audiobook and physical as well. And I think the good thing about it is that you see his journey in terms of reinventing yourself, rediscovering yourself. There's a interview that he did that sometimes in life we create a persona of this person that wins for us.
Yeah.
So, you know, this persona that I would have created, and that persona is now a general manager.
Right.
That persona was the president of Rotary Club. Right. That persona might be an uncle. Right. But is that persona really you all the time? And that's where the different hats come in from there. So sometimes you may have to be, I guess, passionate enough about yourself, or there may become a moment where you actually have to kill those personas to discover who you are. Right? And it's all about sitting back, reflecting, and understanding, hey, maybe I don't know who I am. Maybe I thought I...
And that's okay too, because that's a lifelong process. But what do you do to try to find out who you are? Granted, it's a journey. You know, what are some of the things that you do to be able to do that?
Well, it's self-discovery for me, right? So it's tuning out, reading, meditating, right? I used to have a monk complex, you know, everything needs to be...
Used to?
Everything needs to be this kind of particular place from there. It's not that bad. It's not as monkish anymore, right? But those were things that took my focus away from here and into organizing and present from there. So being able to do that helps you kind of come out of here.
Yeah.
But it's all about how do you discuss with persons, talk with persons, whether it be your girlfriend, whether it be a family member. Don't blush. Whether it be a family member, whether it be friends. But it's also having conversations with persons. You realize that, hey, is this conversation working for me?
Yeah.
And if this conversation isn't working for you, you realize that you yourself are changing. And sometimes you may need to change your surroundings, your friends, and those aspects. And really figure out what are those deeper conversations that you need to have now.
Yeah.
And the challenge with life is that next year is maybe a whole new set of conversations to happen.
Next week. Yeah. Thanks so much for that. That is really a lot to think about and process. And I know a lot of our viewers can also relate really well to that. So, I mean, as we wrap up here, I mean, y'all, I can't stop drinking this hot chocolate. It's almost done. It's so good. Cocoa Rebel is doing the thing. Yeah, so as we look to wind up and, you know, continue to enjoy our drinks here at Eat It Marketplace at the Brew Bar, is there anything that you would like to tell us about any upcoming trainings or projects that either YBTT or Rotary may be having?
So it's back to school time, so we're actually collecting supplies to go back to the school kids in Point 14 area. We're tackling, I think, about 5 or 4 schools,
Okay.
right, to give out some school supplies from there. I mean, any little bit could help, right? We usually partner with the principals to really figure out who in the school
needs
system really needs it from that aspect and give out from there. YBTT, so we're always doing training, right? So you can look at our website. Right now, I think we're piloting 2 tools, one around sustainability and good governance for businesses, and the other one around social and green entrepreneurship. Right, so we're actually piloting those tools to go into our Jumpstart program where we kickstart entrepreneurs, but we really want to kickstart entrepreneurs with the right mindset.
Right. Yeah, it's helpful to be informed and have that awareness so that they can get a better start than some of us who kind of have to find our way out.
And that's sometimes that's the self-discovery that everyone needs to go through.
Sometimes it works.
Right, different journeys, different roads.
How can we find YBTT and Rotary Club Point 14?
So it's ybtt.org. On our website, that's the easiest place. Facebook, Instagram as well. You're searching for Youth Business TT on both ends. On Facebook, it's the YBTT. On Instagram, it's YBTT, the Youth Business TT. Looking at our website, you can get what programs we have to offer as well. And we're always there to give donations. Shameless plug again. This is the
donation.
We're always there to give donations. That's
I need a donation.
Right, so you can always filter it from there. But the work that we do is really to help young entrepreneurs, more importantly, get out there.
Yeah.
I think the challenge is that sometimes you create these different ideas and it's stuck here.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you execute it to make it a reality?
Yeah, execute. How do you take that footstep forward?
Yeah.
Right. People they're stuck in. Well, I need to get this thing registered. I need to get this bank account. They haven't even let somebody else taste their product as yet.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's how do you get them from here and kick them out of the door to get started on their entrepreneurial journey from there.
Awesome. And Rotary Club of Point 14?
Facebook, right? That's the easiest place to look from there, right? So look for Rotary Club of Point 14. Connect with us there. Most likely, if you message the page, I'm going to be answering. So that's public image. Right. So, but give us a call. Contact us from there. Either hats, right? It's good to contact either hats. Both hats are collecting donations.
Yes, both hats count. So Shedron, thanks again so much for being here with us today at Eat It Marketplace. We truly appreciated you taking time out of your super busy schedule to just, start a conversation with us.
Yeah, blend it.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate that. And rumor has it that there is a signature saying that you have when you are signing off of your programs or your trainings. Would you like to share it with our viewers?
Well, hopefully our Jumpstarters are looking and
they should know it by heart.
They do it by heart. But folks, it's been real. Should I go to this camera?
Anyone.
It's been real. It's been nice. It's been real nice. I'll see you all next time.
And again, thank you so much to Eat It Marketplace for having us and allowing us to be in this amazing space. If you haven't checked it out yet, what are you waiting for? For those of you who are not in the South area, it's easy to find. Come down and see what we have. Support local, 100%. All right. So again, I am jvaldez, your counseling psychologist and host, and this has been Chit Chat with 2 T's. Until next time.
Any special greetings for any special people for this special episode?
Yeah, we do, so
Blush.
we do want to say on behalf of, well, everybody here, I guess, who's here right now, your friends and family, and because you're wearing red,
Thanks, Ricardo.
a very happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. That's it? Yeah?
A very happy birthday. And, well, on camera. This
What's
on camera.
happening? All right, guys. We're gonna cut that out. Thank you. So again, interrupt my whole ending. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, bye. And scene. Yay!